Welcome back to Wealth Principle 19. Well, this is the 52 weeks to wealth. We've been on a journey over the last 52 weeks, and we have been learning principles like think a million, build $1 million business. If your business can't make $1 million, it's not worth building. Wealth Principles 19 is one of the pivotal, one of the key principles. It is be a world-class expert in your business. I know that seems obvious. You may be saying, oh my God, I already know that one, but it's not so obvious when you start doing the work. You see, be a world-class expert means the entire world of everybody who does what you do right now, you must be better than them. You must be significantly better than everybody else. I know you can't start out that way. I know it's not easy to start out as a world-class expert, but you can start out that way up here. So, I like to do exercise. Pull out a pen and paper. We're going to do a quick little exercise to get your mind engaged and get you moving in the right direction. And this is very specific. It's in your business. So write down the top of paper, name, date, because a year from now, you got to look back at this. So name and date at the top of the paper. And then right underneath that, I want you to write down what your business is. And we'll be very clear and specific. What does your business do? What is your business? Are you a real estate agent? Are you an investor? Are you a hairstylist? What does your business do? And be very specific. So if you're a hairstylist, you solve the problem of people who have bad hair. If you're a real estate agent, you solve the problem of people who don't have a house or people who want to get rid of their house. This making sense? Excellent. So now you understand what your business is. Now I want you to write down right underneath that, who is the world-class expert? The world-class expert. Write down who that is right now. If I look at myself as a trainer, then I look at Grant Cardone and I say, this guy right here, world-class expert. Maybe I could say Tony Robbins. We're in different markets, different arenas, but I could say he's a world-class expert in a similar line of business. If I look at real estate, I could look at Donald Trump and say he's owned a lot of real estate. I look at Sam Zell, who owns a lot of real estate more in line with what I buy than Donald Trump. He's more commercial side. I'm more residential, like Sam Zell has done. So you look at the person and you look at your business, and then underneath that, I want you to write the difference between you and them. This could be the top three things that separate you from that person. And you got a couple of seconds to write that down. Being world class, while you're writing this, being world class is about identifying things that make you special, make you different from everybody else, give you a cutting edge, give you an advantage. They're things that allow you to go faster in a situation where speed is required. They allow you to go slower in a situation where going slow is required. They allow you to increase volume of something when speed to volume, when having a lot is required. Or they allow precision. You think of doctors, right? Speed is not the requirement of a doctor. It is precision. It is going in cautiously through the process. And an engineer, it is not speed. It is precision. What makes you special? What makes you different? If you can't answer that question, you're in trouble. So start with somebody else. What makes your competitor or the person you admire different? What makes them special? World class. What makes them world class? Which means the entire world would rather work with them than work with somebody like you. I know, hold on. I know what you're thinking. No, they want to work with me. They would. A few people have. I'm talking about the world. Who currently holds that position? I want to open up the chat to who holds that position. Actually, just drop it in the chat box. In your business, who holds that position for you? Now, this realization of world class came to me when I would say probably around 25 years old. I had worked for a couple of companies, and I worked for some major companies. You may recognize some of their names. I worked for Walmart. I worked for Johnson & Johnson. I'd worked for Computer Associates, which you may not recognize, but then I worked for Coca-Cola. And I worked for these big brands, these big companies. These were world-class companies. Hands to the camera if you recognize at least three of those names, world-class companies. They serve the planet. They serve the world. They have products all over the country, all over the world. And I realized as I was there for a very long time, each one of those companies I spent more than 2 years at. And I realized, oh, except for Coca-Cola, I was in and out, just, in and out of that job real quick. But I was sitting at the computer. It's funny because I was at Coke when I was sitting at the computer, and I was doing my job, evaluating where more money needed to be allocated, evaluating where more Coca-Cola cans needed to show up in stores. I was an analyst for Coke, and as I was doing the math, something hit me, and I realized these guys sell aluminum cans. They sell aluminum cans and a story, because the stuff inside is actually garbage. It's not actually good for you. It doesn't actually taste good unless it's like a beer. Like you'll kind of get used to it. But that whole first experience with a Coke, you're like, no, I'm good with this. Don't really need this. But you're compelled to keep drinking it because of the can and the story behind it, that millions of other people want it. And that made them world class, because they were able to get their brand, their logo in front of millions of eyeballs with a story, a inspiration around it to drink the drink. Has anybody ever had a Coca-Cola before? Excellent. I'm not alone. And we've had it. And in our heads, you will experience this anytime you drink Coke. And by the way, I don't hold any Coke stocks, so I'm not selling Coke, not hating or loving Coke, and not financial advice, right? Like Mike Shine would always say on the podcast. But Coca-Cola as a company has a bunch of products. In fact, their competition, they say, is not other sodas. It's actually the throat, right? They compete for the throat. They compete with water. They compete with beer. They compete with anything that you would consume. They compete here, right? Anything that you would put in your mouth. Now, the next time you have a Coca-Cola, I want you to have this experience. Think about what your head's actually saying. Think about what your tongue and your mouth and your head are actually saying to you. They're not saying this is freaking delicious. Like, maybe some part somewhere in there is like, wow, yeah, I like that. But most of that experience is, this is pretty rough, right? This is, bubbly, and there's a lot of stuff going on. And everybody who drinks a Coke knows that there's way more sugar in that Coke than the entire can if it was filled with cubes, right? If it was cubes of sugar, that whole can would actually stack over the top. There's a lot of sugar in those things. So we know it's not healthy. Then they got all these ingredients that are not healthy. But we put it in our mouths, in our bodies, and we consume a lot of it, right? Hands to the camera if you've ever been guilty of consuming a lot of it, right? Yeah, I get it. Me too. It's one of my favorite drinks. Why? Because it's the only thing available at the places I tend to go, because they're world class. And by the way, Taco Bell, right? Taco Bell loves Pepsi and Coke product. I don't remember which one they have, but the idea is that they now sell it as one of the only options. And so you are compelled to purchase world class. The product that they're selling is that they're everywhere. The product that they're selling is that they're known. World class does not mean that your product is the best. World class means people know about you all over the world, and so they're compelled to work with you because everybody else is already working with you. So you have to move into a position of being known. World class means known. World class does not mean the greatest product on the planet. That is not this wealth principle. Wealth principle 19 is become a world-class expert in your business. World-class expert in your business. And then people will sell your product over better, cheaper products. They sell the soft drinks over water at any fast food restaurant. Have you noticed that to be true? Yes. Very strange, isn't it? The water's healthier, the water's cheaper, and yet they sell something else that they spend more money on to purchase. But it's because the people wanted it. And the people wanted it because they were peer pressured into it. Now, it does help that their product has a very unique characteristic. It has something called sugar in it, one of the most addictive legal drugs on the market. Once your body gets some, it says, bring on some more. That's good. And if you don't get some, you get a headache and you get tired. Who here has ever been through sugar withdrawals? You've been through the process? Yes. Why do we do it to ourselves? It's crazy. Sugar is one of the most addictive drugs on the planet, and they actually make it legal and they give it to kids. It's fantastic. We live in a world where the drugs that are drugs would open your mind and expand your mind, and the drugs that are legal absolutely definitely have a death sentence to them for your body. So it's an interesting world. Now, if you take this philosophy of having, and by the way, the reason I tell you about sugar is because you want sugar in your business. Now, I'm not saying the detrimental side. What I'm saying is the good side of it, the addictive quality. Hence the care if you're here every Saturday. Know you will be. Know you continue to be here every Saturday. It's valuable to you. You're gaining something from it. You get a little motivation, a little inspiration. You go out and you improve your business better. Yes. That's my continuity program. That's my keep coming back. Keep coming back. I promise I got a little something for you, right? You're going to feel better after this. And then towards the end of the week, you're going to slow down a little bit and maybe want another boost, right? Who's gone back to the Coke just because like logically, you're going to have more energy, or you've upgraded to the Monster energy drinks, right? Still a Coke product. They got you. And just guess what? Wrapped it in a new can and threw a little taurine in it. Similar ingredients, slapping some taurine. So the continuity in your business, is it there? Ask yourself this question. Do I have something that brings people back to have a relationship with me, or to have a relationship with my product, or to have a relationship with my service? What am I delivering that brings them back in? Now, this 52 weeks to wealth is free. Your product this service does not have to be free. So you don't have to model everything that we do, but it would have to be something that would inspire them to come back. Something that would, and by the way, somebody else is already doing this. You don't have to think outside the box. Don't be too creative in your business. Creativity is the death to entrepreneurs. They go down a path that doesn't work because it's different and nobody else is doing it. That is not what I teach. I teach if somebody else is doing it and they're crushing it, follow their path. I'm not a trailblazer. I am a follower of successful people. Be a world-class expert. Follow world-class experts. Do what they do. Copy what they did. Implement it in your business. And then only, and write this down, only when you surpass the world-class expert do you get to create something new. You have not earned the right to be creative until you are the world-class expert. And even then, you might want to stick to what made you successful for some time until it's no longer working, because success is boring. Coca-Cola did not change the ingredients of Coca-Cola, except for that one addictive ingredient that they pulled out of it, the Coke. So you don't have to change too much about your product, which, by the way, it just goes back to show you Coke was really designed to be addictive, right? Like if you think about its original, the origin of this product, they got enough people addicted to the logo, to the brand. Now, eventually it was discovered that was illegal. But they moved so many people in the direction, and they probably juiced up the amount of sugar in it over time and the caffeine, but they were able to create a mass movement. They became a world-class leader. Other places that you've seen this, by the way, I don't believe that the iPhone is a superior product to the Android. I have both phones. I have for years. And I have seen from practical, by the way, I'm the only one with the authority to say it because I've had both models growing up side by side with each other. Right now, my Android is a superior product. 5 years ago, my Android was a superior product. And the entire time, Apple's singular brand has been growing stronger and stronger and stronger. world-class expert. When you think of world-class expert in the cell phone arena, try to think of somebody other than Amazon. Sorry, wow. Try to think of Freudian slip. Try to think of somebody other than Apple. It's hard, right? Like I think of Samsung because I carry one around, but even I think of iPhone first. Hands to the camera if you had the same experience. Excellent. So world-class requires a community. It requires a community with a purpose, with a drive, with something unique about them, recognizing that they are different from everybody else. What Android does not do at all, none of the companies in Android do this well. They don't make you feel like you're different from having one. iPhone, on the other hand, makes you feel like you're different because you have one, makes you feel unique. You have the iPhone, and even though everybody's got an iPhone, you feel like you're special. You've made a decision. With the Android, they've never made it more than just a better phone, right? They, like truly a superior phone, Samsung, right? But iPhone has made you feel like you're a better person, world-class expert. That's what world-class does. When you can make sure that the people who are your clients, your customers, your friends, by the way, I always suggest working with your friends. I don't like a business where I don't like the people. Does that, can you understand why? I'm too old and too rich to work with people I don't like, trust, and want to do business with. And so work with your friends. Like go, and if your friends don't want to work with you, get new friends, right? Look, who says you have to have 5, right? Who says you got to stop at 100 or 20 or 200? I'm looking to have 10,000 friends in this plan, 10,000 people who are looking at me saying, that guy, wherever he's going, I'm going where that guy's going, because he's got a vision. He can see the future. Because I'm a little bit of a nerd. I spend the time. I put the time into my business to be a world-class expert. Hence, Cameron, if you're committed to being a world-class expert in your business, excellent. Hence, Cameron, it's a little intimidating. It's like, holy shit, that's a lot of fucking work. There's a lot of stuff I got to go do here. Yes. Thank God. Thank God. Because if it was easy, what else would you do with your life? I don't understand. Like I talk to Darina and Ron sometimes, and they're very different from me. I'm a high D personality, and I love what I do. I love building. I love growing people. I love seeing your problems and shifting them around and moving you in the right direction. But Darina and Ron have a big heart for it. They do it out of service. It's a different experience. I do it for the challenge. They do it out of service. Like, people need me, let me help them. Whereas I'm like, people need me, I'm going in. Let's solve this problem. And when I talk to them, like Darina, her dream would be to be on the horse farm all the time. And when she says this to me, it hits my face, and I'm like, I don't fucking get it. Like, I don't get it. Like, how do you live? Like, what do you do to live? Like, what do you do to enjoy your life? Like, what do you do to impact the world? How is the world better and different because you came here? Right. And like, how does that change exist? And like, she doesn't have to have an answer to that. That's not her thing. Hands to the camera if you know it's okay for that not to be your thing. Yeah. Maybe you have a thing outside that you really want to do the rest of your life, and that's enjoyable for you. That's okay. Go and build a great business, be a world-class expert so you can go and do that thing, right? If that's your motivation, go and build a world-class business so you can get free. Be a world-class expert. Everybody knows about you. Everybody sends money your way and thanks you for your service. So when you want something, you just say it and people give it to you. It comes to you. Literally, law of attraction. Law of attraction is the secret. The secret is become a world-class expert in your business. Who's heard, think about something and you will attract it. You'll manifest if you think about it. Excellent. That's true. If enough people know that you want it, if enough people know that you want it, they will go and tell other people who do have it already, and they will bring it along on the path to you. Now, not without some sort of exchange in value. And on one of the calls the other day, I talked about being married to somebody. How is it that somebody married to somebody, and by the way, this is an extreme example, somebody married to somebody, they get divorced, they walk away with half of all their shit, right? This is a gender neutral conversation, by the way, because I've seen it happen on both sides of the fence. So they walk away with half. What have they delivered? There was no physical delivery of any product or service. There was a delivery of commitment. Write this down. Commitment pays the most in this world. Commitment pays the most. Now, you want the biggest commitment? You want half of everybody's stuff? Give them a lifetime commitment, right? Fastest way to get wealthy. Commit to more people for longer periods of time. Commit to more people for longer periods of time. The length of commitment dictates is in direct correlation to what you're being earned, what you're earning. If I said, I'll partner with you for life to make you $1 billion, hands to the camera if you know you'd be in on that. Yeah, you'd kind of be a fool not to, right? It's like, that's as good as the deals get. They don't get better than this. And that level of commitment gives you a certain tenacity, a certain strength, a certain invincibility, a certain there's nothing that could come against you because you've committed for a long period of time. When Ron and I got into our business, we said 10 years minimum. Like we can't even talk about stopping. We can't talk about dissolving. We can't talk about anything other than growth of this company for the next 10 years. He committed, I committed. I said, good. I don't want to ever have this conversation again. That's it. We're in. And so whenever times are tough, we don't go to where most people go, right? We don't go, I'm divorcing you, right? Like I don't go, oh man, like I'm done with him. I go to a different place. How do I work with him? How do I identify what he's looking for and inspire him to keep moving towards what I'm looking for? World-class expert in your business. There's a book, and Mike Shine, do you have the book? I know you're gonna deliver it today.
Yes, I do have the book.
Excellent. So I want you to bring out the book. Let's give Mike Shine a round of applause. Outliers. Mike, deliver. Have you read it recently, didn't you?
Yeah, I read it. I bought this book about 5 years ago, but because of the 52 Wealth Principles, I was motivated to read it this week. So I've gotten most of the way through it. So this is very different from a lot of the other books. It basically takes a view of like 50,000 feet above why people are successful. And what is awesome and encouraging for all of us is that you don't have to be a natural. That's what I really got out of it. It's really about spending 10,000 hours on anything. So for example, the Beatles, they went to Hamburg, Germany, and it's Malcolm Gladwell is the author. They went to Hamburg, Germany, and they were playing in strip joints, but the owner of these bars/strip joints just wanted them to play all day. So instead of playing like a 1-hour gig, they had to play 8 hours every single day. And basically, if you're a band and you have to play 8 hours every single day, you have to think of new songs, new techniques, and just you get practice. And so Malcolm Gladwell basically says that's one of the reasons that the Beatles became so big is because they just put in the time. They also talk about hockey players. The hockey players that are the oldest got the most attention. So they were asked to play more hockey and they were given more encouragement and traveling teams. And that led to more and more hockey games. So it's really interesting. If you look at the dates of most of the hockey players in Canada that are successful, it's January, February, and March of their year, because that's the time when the cutoff was. The cutoff was January 1st. So it's just an amazing book. It talks about Bill Gates. It talks about the Beatles. Talks about Bill Joy, who's Sun Microsystems. And it's all about the fact that you get opportunity plus spend a ton of time, and that leads to success. And it's fun to read because of all the little stories in there. And it's really an eye-opener. We can all be successful. Just put the time in. That is Outliers by Malcolm Gladwell. And that is the book of the week. Thank you. Peace.
Let's give Mike Shine a round of applause. Excellent delivery on the book of the week. Outliers is the first book that I discovered that I had to put in 10,000 hours. And my goal, if many of you already know, is to train 100 millionaires who will be inspired to go and train another 100 millionaires. And so I knew that my tool, my weapon, was getting in front of a lot of people, because I knew that, you know, you're not going to find millionaires. Like, there's 1% in every room, right? They make up 5% of the nation. So I had to go and identify that 5% in every single room, which meant I had to talk to thousands of people to build my 100 millionaires. 10,000 people is a number I came up with that I had to go and communicate with. And so in order to do that, I had to get great at stage speaking. And at the time I made the decision, I was not great at stage speaking. I know the man in front of you looks like, oh, that's impossible. I could never imagine that. But the truth is, I was terrible. I was absolutely terrible on stage. If you saw me 6 years ago, I was an accountant sitting at a desk. I was not this attractive, charismatic character in front of you with a beautiful, shiny head. I had a bald spot here, and I had this hunch and this fear of communicating with people. In 2015, I changed my life. In 2015, I made a decision. I made an intentional decision to be the kind of person who can inspire others, to be the kind of person who can go out and teach and educate so that they can have an emotional experience that moves them forward. Because as Dr. Terry Wager talks about all the time, without emotion, you're not going anywhere. In fact, emotion, if you write it down, is energy in motion, right? The E is a big E, energy in motion. So you need those. And I could get on stage and read a script and not look anybody in the eye, and that was perfectly fine. But when it came to being on stage, Darina is going to do a horse show. Darina, you want to come over and show everybody your cool, fancy dress?
Oh,
It's very fancy.
It's not a dress, it's just
outfit.
an outfit.
There you go. Enjoy.
Thank you.
So she wants to go be world class, by the way, at horse jumping. Like the horse jumps over the things. Between you and me, I cannot stand it. It is the most boring, my God, like boring thing to watch in the world. But what my secret is, how I survive, is I look at her face, and her face is ecstatic. It's absolutely insane. That, like, even when she's not having a good time, I just look at her face and I'm like, that is fascinating, right? It's Has anybody ever watched horse jumping? Yeah, she's very good at it. She's very good, and she's learning, and she loves it. Some things I'll never understand, you know. I like, but that's okay. Many of you have hobbies I just don't get, you know. Let's see. Some of the ones I don't get would be going out on the weekend, hanging out. Right? I know most of you are not like this, but you know, some of your friends have hobbies that I don't understand. Hanging out on the weekend, drinking all night, partying, not building a business, paying taxes for everything they earn, not making $1 million, not owning assets. Like the hobby would be, I want to have the nicest car in the block, but no, I'm not ready to buy a house yet. All right. So you got nice car dreams. I've never been a car guy. I don't even get it. Darina, it's like, oh, do you want to get a Tesla? I'm like, dude, I would rather just have somebody else own a Tesla and I borrow it every so often with the app, and like it just comes and picks me up and drops me off. I text too much to really actually want to drive, find any enjoyment from driving. If there was like a teleporting system, I would use the teleporting system. If there was an actual decent, like, if Uber was very reliable where I could just like get it within a minute, I would Uber everywhere. You know, unfortunately it's 5 minutes to 5 minutes to get in the car. But once that system's improved, dude, I don't want to own a car. I don't get it. Hands to the camp if you know what I'm talking about, right? Like what you drive to me, like I'm not impressed. Like I've had people, you know, we've driven in the Lambos, we've driven in the Ferraris and the Porsches, and those things don't impress me. I'm not inspired by them. And that's okay. If you are, that's okay. Like, good, buy more. Go make money. Like, get rich, buy more of those. Fill a garage with them. You get the garages and stack them on top of each other, right? You are different. You are different. You're allowed to be different. But you can't be yourself without some money. You can't be yourself without some financial freedom in your life. You cannot get to that level of happiness and joy that you know you deserve, that you want in your life, unless you've got some money in your situation, unless you got some money to play with, unless you got some of that. It's fun points, right? You can go and you can buy fun things with it. Utility points, you can buy useful things with it. But you've got to have some of it. Everybody has to have some of it. You can't get away from it. This stuff is all over the planet. We live in a monetary world. We live in a system, an economic economy. Well, economic economy. I love that. It's double entendre. Is that a double entendre? But this stuff right here, this asset has made us wealthy. Real estate. This asset has made us wealthy, but not as much as this asset. What's going on up here in my head? This is what's built my wealth. By the way, I see a couple of people wearing the 100 Millionaire shirts. Let's give them a round of applause. Hell yeah. We're on a mission to build 100 millionaires who inspire to build 100 millionaires. If you have not yet gone and joined the mentorship, join the mentorship. Go to gualtermurillo.com/mentor and sign up. The mentorship is a simple course. If you have not heard me talk about it yet, I apologize. My fault. I should have sold this sooner. I should have mentioned it to you sooner. If you've been struggling in life and working through things and they're not working for you, if you've been bouncing around different ideas, you don't know if it's the right one for your business, the mentorship is the place where you solve those problems now, because the sooner you solve those problems, the sooner you get on the right path. I see everybody on this call with a camera on is in the mentorship. Give yourselves a round of applause if you're in the mentorship or a graduate. Excellent. Let me ask you this. Have you changed something in your life since joining the mentorship? Hands to the camera if you've changed something in your life since joining the mentorship. That's amazing. That's amazing, because most people don't change. And if you find a program that helps you change, you're going to pick up momentum. You're going to pick up speed. Speed. Remember, we were talking about it earlier, velocity. Speed to success is more important than anything else. Oh, no, I was talking about velocity last night with Dorina. My apologies. Velocity of money is the key to money success. As soon as money comes in, it needs to go back out. As soon as money comes in, it needs to go back out. Now, I'm not saying do it frivolously, right? You're a world-class expert in handling money. Hands to the camera if you agree. Say it. I'm a world-class expert in handling money. Yes, I don't see enough lips moving. One more time. I'm a world-class expert in handling money. Yes. Money with me, when I know it's coming in, when I just think about it coming in, I've got it moving 3-4 steps ahead. I don't even have to have had the conversation of what I'm going to say to the person who's actually going to bring the money in. I know 3, 4, 5 steps ahead where that money is going before it gets to me, before the person who's going to give it to me even knows they're going to give it to me. Does that make sense? Because I want money to come through and it be a system. I want it to be systematically moving. I want it to have some speed. You ever watched the starships as they go out into space? They got this curve around them because of freaking gravity pulling them back in, right? Gravity's always pulling them. So they got this curve. And if they want to go really far, really fast, they use the curves of the other planets to slingshot along so they can get out further into space. Has anybody seen that? They slingshot around the planets. They use the gravity of the planets to speed up their rocket ship. They allow it to get into the gravity. It gets closer, closer, closer fast, and then they push the engine right at the end as they've picked up energy from the planet. You want to have a system that magnifies the power of your money as it comes through, which means it's got to move to other places. It's got to move to different places in order to move faster. Speed, velocity, be a world-class expert in handling your money. Money doesn't just come in and sit at the bank account. Dude, that's step one. Don't stop reading the book there. That's only step one. Same with your clients. Be a world-class expert. Who has noticed that when you come into the mentorship, it's not just the mentorship? Who has noticed there's velocity of education, speed to information? I use books. I use videos. I use audios. I use other people, conversations with other coaches. I use live events. There's a lot of different tools that I use to speed up the process so that it doesn't take as long. Have a system in place to speed people along in your business. Multiple paths, multiple streams. My marketing is insane, but it could be better. By the way, write that down. That's an affirmation. My marketing is insane and it could be better. Right? This works for everybody, by the way. Just say it to yourself every day. My marketing is insane and it could be better. I'm working on it. It's getting better. Because that's the truth. That is the truth. Whether you know it or not, your marketing is insane and it could be better. Velocity of money to you makes you a world-class expert in receiving money. Velocity of clients to you makes you a world-class expert at marketing. Velocity of service provided makes you a world-class expert in your business. The more people who know about you, the more people that can bring you money, that can tell other people about you. You cannot be a world-class expert just by creating a world-class product. It will not work. I delivered 2 products today that are not world-class, the product themselves. It's the company and the brand that you're buying. We agree? Hands to the camera if you recognize it. Now, I'm not saying go and create a logo like Nike and the swoosh and the apple and the little swirly C. That's not what made the companies world-class. We understand that this is not the secret. It is not the logo. It is the message. It is what it represents. It is the context. We were on a call the other day and Melanie was asking about how to set context for her business. And she was like, do I have to? Oh, it wasn't a call. Actually, we're at the live mastermind at Mike Shine's house. Give Mike Shine a round of applause, by the way, for running the mastermind live. That was cool. In person, fantastic. All the mastermind members enjoyed it. I got to hug, high five, hang out with all of our mastermind members. It was a blast. And some of our coaches fly out to do it with us. Dr. Terry Wager, Mitch Jorsky. Mike Shine, ironically, was there first. He showed up before everybody else, set things up for us, paved the way. And when I talk about this community, I really get excited because I see it growing all by itself. But what Melanie's question was on the hot seat, her question was, how do I build context? Should I put like it down on paper somewhere? Should there be forms? Should there be a bulletin board or like a place where everybody can read how the company culture is? And the answer is yes and no. Yes, you need to have that written down internally somewhere so you know what the culture is, what the context is, what the community is supposed to operate like. But you don't just hand that to the people in your community. Has anybody ever seen the context of Alchemist Nation? I've never written it down anywhere, right? Nobody's ever seen how we operate here, but you do know we don't use the word need. You don't use the word try, right? You don't use anything that would be a negative connotation. And when you're asked a question, you deliver an action. I'm going to do this. Nobody in here expects you to be a thinker. We expect you to be a doer. Doers are rewarded. Hands to the camera if everybody knows this. It's obvious. It's just, yeah, obviously. And who knows that if you bring one of your friends into one of our events, you have to be like, oh, by the way, here's the rules. This is going to be a little different from any other event you've ever been to. You're probably going to put your hands to the camera, but just so you know, there's probably going to be a little engagement. Bring a pen and paper. There's going to be an exercise. You understand that it's different, right? But there's nothing written down. Your company culture is not written down. It's in your heart. It's in your head. It's written here. That's what makes you world class. It's not a mission statement that's written down. It's not a business plan that's written down. It's a culture that's inside of you. It's a characteristic inside of you that you've decided to share with others. Now, if it's not contagious, work on it. That's one of the books that we read a few weeks ago, the book Contagious, How to Build a Contagious Culture. The world-class experts on this planet are great at inspiring others through their culture. Literally, you see the apple on a Mac and you think, one of those, one of those people, right? One of those people. Or you see the apple on a Mac and they're at a coffee shop and you see it and you're like, one of my people. All right. Yeah. I see you. I see you. That's right. Hands to the camera if you recognize that. Be polarizing with your brand. Did you know that Androids make up 2/3 of the phones on the planet? Androids make up 2/3 of the phones on the planet. Man, it doesn't get easier than that to do the math. 1/3 will hate you no matter what. 1/3 will not care either way. And 1/3 is going to religiously stand by you regardless of what you do. 1/3, no matter what you do, wants your business, wants to do something with you, wants to party with you, wants to hang out. Hands to the camera if you recognize you're my 1/3. You're the people who, no matter what, if there's an opportunity, we're going to do it together. If there's a chance, we're going to go and make a change. If there's a situation where one of us is in a turmoil situation, we can count on each other. That's the truth. That's what this community is all about. Not everybody will get it, but the ones who do are worth it. The ones who do get it are worth communicating it to. Be polarizing in your brand. Be 100% polarizing in your community, in your culture. There are people who will not shop at Taco Bell. I don't get it. I do not get it. I don't understand. I get why people don't go to Wendy's, right? Like I get it. I can see why people wouldn't go to Burger King, but Taco Bell, I'm like, dude, this is good for the world. Everybody should get in here. But I bet you know somebody, you may be somebody who doesn't like Taco Bell. Hands to the camera if you don't like, the tacos, right? I'm not going to cry about it. It's not one of those strengths of my brand, right? But if it came to doing things morally, ethically, and legally, hands to the camera if you agree to do everything morally, ethically, and legally. Yes. I haven't gotten one from Ryan McDermott. I'm concerned. All right. He's in. That's non-negotiable. Extremely polarizing to people who don't want to do things morally, ethically, and legally. And I know in this group, we're like, who wouldn't want to? 2/3 of the planet. I promise you. 2/3 of the planet does not make that a rule. They do not make that a law or a rule. You can tell by going outside. Just walk outside. And if you're in a major city, you will hear a siren at some point. You will see a police car go by at some point. If you drive long enough, you'll be pulled over at some point. Hence the camp if you ever experienced that. Yes. So it's proof that this 2/3 thing works. You may think that everybody's like you. That's not the truth. The people you do find that are like you, that's gold. Hold on to them. The people who are like, I could go either way, let them go. They're taking away from the people who want to be in your business, your world-class business, the expert. They want to hang with the expert, the authority on the subject. By the way, write a book. Right? The authority on the subject, the person who knows what they're talking about. Look at Ryan. He's ashamed. He's like, I know, I got to do this. I just got to write a book. This is nuts. They want to work with the person who is perceived as the world-class expert. You can be that. You genuinely can be that because world-class just means more people know about you. The product will improve no matter what. That was Wealth Principle last week. Only deliver the highest quality product or services and from there constantly improve. I taught that first so that I could teach this one next. Because yes, the quality of the product is important, but world-class expert is not the product. Last week, you built your product. You improved your product. Hands to the camera if you agree. Last week, you worked on improving your product. You said, what can I do? Make it better, make it better, make it better. This week, take that product and make it known. Make it known. Get more eyeballs on you. Get more people knowing about what you're doing. I'm going to suggest going hardcore in social media, getting crazy. There's many platforms. Your business may operate differently on different platforms. Identify the one platform that works best for you, and then go absolutely bananas in that platform. Not all of them. Do not do what I do. I have a team that I pay to do what I do. But you can go out and go bananas, go insane on one platform. And we'll say if you work with business owners, LinkedIn's your platform. If you work with entrepreneurs, business owners, LinkedIn's your platform. If you work with the average person between the ages of 20 and 50 or 60, Facebook is your platform. And if you're working with people who are under 25, 28, Instagram could be your platform. If you're a really picture friendly business, if you're a talker or a video friendly business, TikTok between 30 and we'll say 15 is your platform. So you have different platforms for different audiences, but don't use all of them. Don't be crazy. Don't be silly. Just pick one, drive one hard, master it. And like, you're not driving one hard if you haven't had a conversation with 10, 20 people on that platform each day. I have a hard time catching up on all of my messages, on all the comments. So, but that's like all I do with my day is follow up and catch up. Hands to the camera if you know you could do more. Yes. Yes, it's true. It's true. So what's stopping you? What's stopping you? Come on now. Write it down and burn it. Just change it. Switch it. Look, you don't have the choice anymore. I'm taking it away. You don't have the choice to do anything but be successful. I'm on a mission to build 100 millionaires. Help a brother out. Come on. I'm working hard here. I'm putting out great content. I really want you to have a change. I really want you to understand how simple this is. Being world class means more people know who you are. Being world class means you're very clear on who you are. This is some emotional stuff. It's scary stuff. I get it. It's a lot of work, but you can do it. You've just got to put yourself through it. It's not easy. When I started, I was an unsocial, scared person. When I started, I had no skill in sales. I had no money. I had no relationships. I had to build all of this from nothing. And what's worse is I also lost my support system. I was going through a divorce and I'd lost my job. So I lost my income stream. And I got to the very bottom and I wasn't very happy with myself. In fact, I was stressed. I was upset. I was disappointed. I was depressed. I was mad. I was angry. I was anxious. I was concerned about the future. And I was considering taking my own life. But in that very moment, some clarity was created as well, because I realized I could give up absolutely everything. And if I just stayed here, I'd have to cling to something new. And that something new would be helping other people understand how money works, because I had no clue at the time. I was lost. I was confused. Understanding how relationships work, how love works, how you can actually find somebody who loves you just the way you are without having to go and change for them. And I was so lost and so frustrated, so upset with myself, because I knew that other people were able to do this and I wasn't able to do it. And I made a commitment that day to decide. I decided to go and be the person who could teach it. But first, I knew I had to learn it. And I can remember it like it was yesterday. I remember walking across my kitchen floor and looking out the window, and this understanding, this belief system came into me, and I realized I can learn anything. And if I commit the rest of my life to learning this process, learning how to live, learning how to be a better human being, then one day I'm going to teach it. One day I'm going to go out, I'm going to teach other people how they can do this so they never have to suffer the way I did. So they never have to feel the pain that I was feeling in that moment, that I'd felt for years, that not belonging, that not being enough, not being worthy, having to prove myself constantly. I knew that one day I'd find it, and it did not happen overnight. It took me years. It took me years. It was 2013 I went through that experience. It wasn't until 2015 I started reading The Secrets of the Millionaire Mind and went to the Millionaire Mind Intensive. It was 2 years of a commitment that I did not know I was walking through the muck Man, I did not know how to do it. It was like walking through tar, just trying to get out of the pit. But eventually, I met the right coaches, and I got my mentor, and they moved me along. And as I moved through the process, it got easier. And as I speak to you now, man, it's like skating on butter. It's very easy to keep doing what we're doing because it's got framework behind it. It's got principles behind it. It's a process. It's proven. Man, I don't do anything new anymore. I hate new shit, right? It could be new to me, but it better not be new, right? Like everything must be verified and qualified before I get involved. Somebody else has to have written 100 reviews before I go and buy something. I'm not interested in being the pioneer. Hands to the camera if you recognize you want to do things faster. Excellent. Excellent. Let's open it up to the coaches. By the way, give yourselves a round of applause for being here every Saturday at 10 a.m., growing your mindset. This journey is not easy. It is worth it. Promise you it's worth it. It is so cool. Last night I went out with Darina and we were there in, I can't remember where we went to a sushi restaurant. And we were there and everybody was around us and they were all like talking about like work and stuff. And we were talking about how to travel more often and hit all the different places in our community. Like, how do we get to all these different meetup groups that are all across the country that we've started? And how do we get to them all and like meet the people in person? Because that was cool. Like what we did in Boston was cool, but I want to do it all over the country. And I want to go and have that impact. I want high fives in every state. And we were talking about these ideas of how to do it. Like, how do we do this in the most efficient, fastest manner? Because I know as soon as I do it, I'm going to want to do something else. So I want to do it faster, right? Speed to money, speed to velocity, speed to experience. And I realized last night, I was up to like 4:00 in the morning. I realized I really don't have to do anything. There's really nothing I have to do. And with all of the money that's coming like through the companies and through my investments and into my bank accounts, like it's a really cool process to watch it growing every single week, month, day. And like me playing a video game or me watching TV or me reading a book has no impact, has absolutely no impact on whether all of that is working. Except sometimes I open my mouth in front of the right amount of people in the right situation, the right mindset, and more happens. More comes through. More deals are put together. I, by the way, got 3 texts this week of alchemist deals. And when I call an alchemist deal, write this down, is when everybody on the transaction is an alchemist. Everybody on the transaction has been through this program. There is nothing more exciting than an alchemist deal to me. When I see those texts and I see the list of names, I'm like, oh, we're winning. We're winning. The world's a better place. I know that deal was done morally, ethically, legally, and it was fun. And there were hugs. Like there was a care, a concern in the deal. Hands to the camera if you've been a part of one of those and you know it's true. That's right. That's right. It works. It works. Whatever you want to create is possible. Whatever you want to create, manifest in this world is possible. There is one requirement. You've got to give everything else up. Everything else has to go. I've heard Terry's story. I know his story of where he made his commitment to do what we're doing. You've heard my story of when I made my commitment to doing what we're doing. The only reason I'm successful is because I let go of everything else. I let go of absolutely all the other stuff. Ego didn't stand a chance in front of my mission. The irony is I have a lot more now than I ever could have had holding on to that stuff. Does that make sense? You got to commit. Look, I've done literally, like this is my problem. I've done all the things I want to do on this planet. I've literally done all the things I want to do. And so I now am focused on how do I do bigger, better things? How do I go aim for things that are bigger? So now I have to set goals like, oh, I want to hang out with Grant Cardone, right? I want him to need me for something. I want to hang out with Tony Robbins. I want them to need me for something. I want to go and be impactful in their lives. Like there's now goals I have to set because I am content. I'm happy as a clam. Hands to the camera if you know that's a cool feeling, right? Like you've accomplished all the things you set out to do. And so now you have to set goals that are bigger to pull you forward. The 100 millionaires, by the way, too small. I set the goal too small. Set it way too small. I should have aimed at 1 million millionaires day one, but it doesn't fit on a cup as easily, right? So 100 millionaires is your goal. Million millionaires is my goal. That'll keep. I'm 35, right? $1 billion company. That's just like the next 5 to 10 year plan. I'm going to be on this planet for a long period of time. I have to start setting bigger goals. Who's here? Who knows they're going to be there? Watch the process. Be a part of it. Hell yeah. Come ride the thunder, right? Ride the lightning, like Metallica said. Ryan McDermott, you're up, brother.
Thanks, Walter. This is great. Yeah, you talked a little bit about, well, I'll jump into it first, just on the first, these 10,000 hours and getting to that mastery. I've been like obsessed with mastery the last couple of years. Obviously my own mastery, but observing others. Like I was at a dentist office a couple of weeks ago getting a root canal, which was pretty painful. But I'm sitting there watching, I guess the prosthodontist and, the person helping back and forth, just doing this stuff, like to me while it's happening, just like clockwork. And it was clear, somebody, and you would hope somebody inside your mouth is, has been through 10,000 hours and hopefully even more than that. But I would say, just my own experience with it, I can remember when I'm about 40,000 hours in. When I got to 10,000 hours, I was not on calls like these, and I was not involved in programs like these, and I was not investing in coaches, and I had mentors, but I didn't take them seriously. And when I got to 10,000 hours, when you're supposed to take off, I didn't. And from probably about 10 to 30,000 hours, I was stuck because it was a combination of ego, I would say hubris, and I've got notes down. I've been taking notes down on the things that I had going on, and also probably a little bit of mistrust. It wasn't until I got to that 30,000 hours, which was maybe 5 or 6 years ago, where, everything started to change. I let go of those things, and I brought partners in, and I started to work with coaches and trust mentors, and respecting other people's opinions and respecting other people's craft. So, if you're here and you're below that 10,000 hours, round of applause for you, because you're doing the right thing. And if you're above that 10,000 hours or more and you're here, good for you too. Thanks.
Let's give Ryan McDermott a round of applause. I love that. And I was going to tell the story earlier. I recognized that I had no hours on stage time. That's why I sucked. That's why I was a terrible presenter, because I had no hours on stage time. And so I did what any absolutely crazy obsessed person would do, is I booked as many events as I possibly could in a day for 6 months straight. I went to and I knew who had all the training events, by the way, the realtor offices. They love training. They give training away for free. And so I called up Keller Williams and I said, I want to train in your office. And I called every office in Rhode Island and Boston, every office in Rhode Island, Massachusetts. And I went all the way across both states doing free trainings, 2-3 hour trainings. I'd finish one, I'd get in my car, go to the next one, go to the next one, go to the next one, go to the next one. Every single real estate investor association and network and meetup in Massachusetts, Rhode Island, and Connecticut, I was there. I show up. I make sure that I could be there and speak. It gave me speaking opportunities. It gave me in-person influence opportunities with other people. Hands to the camera if you recognize that's how you speed up the process. Put in more hours. And then I recognized I wasn't great at social media. And so I started doing Facebook every single day. Content, engagement for hours. I would study the craft, master the craft, put out the content. And then Zoom happened. I was not a great Zoom speaker. I never spoken on Zoom. And instead, when I recognized the flaw, I added more events. Instead of saying, oh, I'm not good at it, I'm only going to do the bare minimum, I increased to over 10 hours a week on Zoom in a one too many situation. And then I flooded my calendar with Zoom literally every single 30 minutes a day for weeks at a time. Who remembers the Alchemist Nation podcast when I started? I was putting out 4 to 5 episodes a day for one very important reason: world-class expert. I knew that everybody who was a champ at this had over 100 episodes. And so I committed to hit 100 episodes in 6 months, which is 4 times the speed of what it should take. 4 times the speed. That should be, 2 years, right? But I didn't have 2 years. I wanted success yesterday. I wanted my 10,000 hours in. I'm not at 10,000 hours on the podcast, but what I did was I started 3 podcasts so I could bang out all those hours, right? I got one with Mike Shine, 100 Millionaires podcast. I've got the 15 Minutes Goal with Drew Martin, and I've got the Alchemist Nation podcast. And I jump on other people's podcasts. When you recognize that you want to do something and you want to do something bad, put in the hours. You know why I'm able to put in the hours? Because I got businesses that bring in money. I'm financially free. I get to do whatever I want. I want to put in the hours because it's going to separate me from everybody else who doesn't want what I want. I want success for millions of people. And so if it takes me putting in hours, mastering certain crafts, mastering influence, like Doug has done, like Terry has done, like Ryan's working on, like Mike Shine is working on, if it takes that separation so that my fun time becomes my learning time, bro, I'm going to have fun learning till the day I die. I'm here for you. I'll do what it takes. Dr. Terry Wager, you're up.
When I was in school, every year we had an hours benchmark that we had to make to do therapy, to work with behavior change, to work with testing and assessment, all of these different things. I had to go through these hoops. And that's how I saw it. I was like, oh my God, another hoop to jump through. Oh, they're going to make me do this. They're going to make me do that. And what I realized is by the time I got done with my degree, I had the 10,000 hours in behavioral change management. I had the 10,000 hours in working with people, really taking apart and dissecting why things weren't working in their life. And I found that the education that they gave me was all about the hours put in to really honing a craft. And I was so grateful that I got those hours, because when I got into my actual different jobs that I had, I didn't feel like an imposter. I didn't feel like I didn't know what I was doing. I walked in with the skills and I walked in with the abilities to make the changes. And that's what this week is all about. We're talking about being an expert in your field. An expert starts out with research, but then it's practical experience too. And so if you have the research and you have the practical experience to be able to do something, that's where it's at. And if you don't have that yet, keep taking action. That's why we talk about getting on the bullet train of action, because action creates results. Every time action creates results. And so you get really good with your skill of taking action, things start to change for you. And in the beginning, it might not work very well, but you look at your results, you make the changes, and you keep going. And so for us, the biggest piece is, and I'm here about 40,000 hours in to behavior change and helping people really understand where they're making their actions count for them to really start moving forward fast. That's why we talk about being on the bullet train of action. That's why we double people's income. That's why we know exactly how to help you grow, because we've put those hours in. I put them in behavior change and psychology and organizational psychology, business psychology. Christine put them in team development at Starbucks for 18 years. There's a little over 10,000 hours there. We have those, and we came together and said, let's do this together because we can help people build what they want. We can help people build their dreams. And that's what we do on a daily basis. Can't think of anything better.
Let's give Dr. Terry Wager a round of applause. Talk about 10,000 hours. Oh my God, these guys make me look like a little kid. I love it. Massive, massive, massive wealth of knowledge in this community. The coaches If you have not had a conversation with the coaches, you are missing out in a big way. These people are masters of what they do. Speaking of a master, Mike Shine, the closer. You've been closing all the deals this week.
Yeah.
Thank you. I'm so blessed to be a part of this group. I really appreciate it.
Hell yeah.
Similar to Ryan and Terry, I started my law practice. I passed the Rhode Island bar in 1990, and I started tri-state title in 2005. And I was just doing a little calculation on my calculator on my phone. 75. We were doing from 2005, 75 closings a month. Okay. So that's like 900 closings. I figure they take about an hour each. This is just the closing part. So this isn't the background clearing, title, typing up settlement statements, all that stuff. But even with that, from 2005 to 2014, I had done it's probably around 9,000 hours right there. And we're in 2021. So I'm really blessed. One of my paralegals, Jessica, calls me the client whisperer. And I think what it is I've seen everything. So people come and it's their first closing and they're in a panic. But I've seen it before. And so I'm an expert in my field. Certainly when I started in 2005, I had never read Outliers. I didn't know about the 10,000 hours. But just because I've spent so much time doing this, these things come up, when Kim Rodriguez has a closing or Herlina has a closing and they're a little nervous about something. It's always, I got this because this is what I do. I do it all the time. And it's just putting the hours in. So that's my big takeaway. There's nothing special about it. Just put the hours in and they stack on top of each other pretty quickly. So that's my thoughts for today.
That's the truth. Let's give Mike Shine a round of applause. I think you're catching a theme. I surround myself with champions. Surround yourself with the best. Actually, Wallace D. Waddles, the quote, my favorite quote. Focus on the best. Surround yourself with the best. You will become the best. Surround yourself with people who have put in more than the 10,000 hours to become masters in their space. Surround yourself with the people and another example, Doug McGurk, you're up. You got to unmute the mic, Doug.
Yeah, we've got to hit the button. Dang button. So brilliant as
10,000
always.
hours.
Very nice. Yeah. I don't have 10,000 hours of hitting mute. So excellent as always. I took a bunch of notes and you guys were obviously sharing so much about the hours and the energy that we put into it. And there's something, one of the things that I've lived my life by is surround yourself with people whose normal is what you aspire to. And that has been one of the most powerful philosophies of life. And that's what put me in the environment of, Tony Robbins and getting to work with him and be personally mentored by him and so forth. But a couple things I wanted to kind of dovetail all of this that, Walter, you said, that the power of this community. So you use that moonshot analogy where you use the power of the gravity of another planet to create that velocity. Well, that's exactly what you get as part of this program. When you immerse yourself into the mentorship program, you by proxy are naturally surrounding yourself in that environment. When you invest in yourself and you connect with Terry and Christine and go even deeper, you're, as Ryan shared, capitalizing on those 80,000 hours. It's massive velocity. So it's the best. The best investment of your time and energy is to surround yourself with people that hold you to a higher standard. And the other thing I want to share is Apple's philosophy. Apple is not a computer company. And that's what people sometimes forget. Apple's mission is to bring the best user experience to its customers through its technology. So that distinction is really important because when we're focusing on our customers, on our prospects, not on what we do, we add that much more value, and that's the position we need to come from. And then lastly, I just wanted to share, as you're going out there, if you're developing yourself as a coach, as a leader, as an expert, there's always going to be someone who knows more than you. Right. So that's that. So the challenge I ran into was, hey, you know, Tony was my guy. I don't have the years that Tony has. It simply is not possible. He's older than me and has been doing it for, you know, how, you know, basically immersed himself since he was like 19. But you only need to know like 10%, 1%, 5% more than the person you're helping. So be careful about like comparing yourself to someone, to another expert who may have more time and energy. That doesn't mean that you can't help other people. That doesn't mean that you are not an expert. You are always going to be an expert compared to someone who knows less than you. So be willing to own that. And then the last thing I just want to share is one of the things that I struggle with is forgetting, because when I've got the, you know, multiple decades of experience, I feel like everybody knows what we're talking about. Well, last night, Heidi had some friends come over, and I don't know if you guys know, we have a 15-foot by 10-foot library. And it turns out that Heidi and I, when we merged, we had duplicate books. And I also had books in my office. I had a giant library in my office, and when I left working for Palm, I brought it all back. So I had all these duplicate books. So we literally had like maybe 500 books to get rid of. A lot of them, we had like 300, 200 maybe of personal development books that, you know, like, and even Tony Robbins programs and stuff. And her friends came over, like 4 of them, like, oh, well, let's, you know, see if they want any of them. We'll just give them away to people who could use them. And they didn't even know what they were looking at. Like, you don't see the value. Like, if that were me, I would have taken everything. I already had them. But like Tony Robbins books, Malcolm Gladwell, like just also, I mean, I can't even list like all the books that are on the book list. They were all there, and I was like, oh my gosh, there's still people who don't know this. I even asked, I said, you know, you guys see The Secret? One of the books was The Power, and they're like, The Secret? Wow. So the other thing, the point there is, remember that there's always going to be someone you can help. That just because you surround yourself in an environment like this, that's why you got to bring them in so that you can help raise their vibration. And that's all I got to say about that. Sorry I went long. Boom.
Let's give Doug McGurk a round of applause. Such a great reminder. One of the biggest pieces that I have to constantly remind myself is I've read over 350 success books, and most people have never read one. And so when I start talking to a new person who's coming into this, I'm speaking at a level that I perceive is just normal, because most of this community has already read at least 5 books. Hands to the camp if you've read more than 5 books. Hands to the camp if you've read more than 10 books on personal development, success, business, real estate. Yes. Hands to the camp if you've read over 20 books on success, business, personal development, real estate. Excellent. Excellent. And I know many of you could keep holding your hands up. All right, we'll do it for the veterans here. 50 books on success, personal development, real estate. 100 books. We'll say 200 books. 300 books. 400 books.
Lost count at that point.
Somewhere in that ballpark. Absolutely. Let's give our voracious readers, a round of applause. Notice, by the way, it's the most successful people on the call are the biggest readers. Now, we don't just read, we take action. And by the way, Doug, I'm willing to take a drive down to your place. I'll bring my duplicates from me and Darina's merge, and we can see if there's any extras that you don't have, and I'll pick up some that I don't have. I will drive for books. And just hang out with you.
I'll take a picture, and then I'll just put them aside and bring them up for you if you want.
I like it, man. Sounds like a plan. Let me see. Do I have Mitch Jorsky on here? I don't see him. He's not here today. Obviously, Mitch Durfee. Christine, you're up.
World-class experts. I think so much of the time we just forget that we are experts in things sometimes. Like our humble nature of what Doug was saying is there's always that person in front of us. Like we wrote their names down earlier. You took us through that exercise of how are they more inspiring? Well, I often forget, and I have been challenged to up my game, my resume game. 18 years with Starbucks, that's a lot of hours. I think there was like 2,500 stores when I started. There's over 30,000 stores now worldwide. I mean, this is before they were in Australia and things. So I've seen a lot of change. I've executed, rolled out change, seen them. I mean, before breakfast sandwiches, we were talking about sugar before. Starbucks elevated the sugar game, that's for sure. White mochas, frappuccinos, you name it, they're making it. They're always adding more sugars in. It's not just coffee, it's world-class service, world-class products, always evolving. And I got to be part of that. Training, it's not just books, it's actual coaching. It's finding mentors, it's going to the seminars, training others. I mean, you talk about that all the time, Walter. It's about, you're really a master, you're really an expert when you can naturally share what you're doing and how you're moving people forward. And that's what I loved about Starbucks. And that was the big challenge, was bringing on people, keeping them and getting them to move forward. And that's what I became known for, is going into stores, seeing everybody there, who's going to move forward, who's got potential. Everybody has potential. You just need a guide and a mentor to say, yes, let's do this. This is the issue that's going on in the store. How can we be the problem solvers? Here, I see you. You are someone that has the potential to deliver on the team, to the bigger vision, to the customer service, to the standard processes, the procedures. What's your talent? What drives you? How can you bring that to the team to bring it forward, move forward, create the culture where everybody is learning? Everybody's reading a book in here. And the mentorship we share, what book have you read this week? What have you done to move yourself forward? What are you holding yourself accountable to? What drives you? That's where you want to spend your focus on. How can you be better at what you do already? Become that expert, share your expertise, and know that you make a difference to yourself and those around you, your family, your friends, those that don't even know you yet. They're watching you. People are watching you on social media. And then they're going to follow you and support you for years and years to come, just like the Alchemist community. So thank you, Walter, and all my coaching friends and members of the Alchemist.
Let's give Christine a round of applause. I love your perspective and hearing your take on business, because you've been in it for so long. You've been building businesses for so long, you and Terry both, and you have that commitment. Ladies and gentlemen, if you haven't already signed up for the mentorship, sign up. If you haven't already moved into another program that improves you, do it. Do it now. Take action now. Successful people take action now. You need 3 coaches, 2 mentors, a mastermind, and a lot of books. A book a week is the key to success as far as knowledge, but there is no substitute for action. Successful people take action now. Cheers to your success. We have a choice. Always work with the best.
With the best. With the best. With
Work
the
with
best.
the best.